Right, I'm be about the about sports arena. So brass was yet na a yankonya coco, so na fear de a sports arena to me the bro na bibia. And so it me koye. Shannon say La Liga games midweek fixtures. Course I'm telling you, Andre be to ja. Yeah, the more resources in the bro now when they are calling their eba. Honum. Andre discuss about Real Madrid or more signings or must start your more new coach or bani ade. Yeah, so you have room na fe you discuss other issues na fe hu de ekọ ene de eba na fe yetumi ayeden akire emu ye e de amount sene mdi kankan ndra Girona ekoche Valladolid 1-0 Celta Vigo koche Real Sociedad 1-0 and Sevilla Las Palmas 1-0 nti over 1.5 for ne de just yetiri so ne apampa so ba kokure nu a etumi bo e wo no nti no dia e wo mu no ye be ko ene matches ne mu na afi ya hwe na ya hu dia eko na ne dia eba ene La Liga games a ebe ko so no Alaves ne Valencia saso ena Villarreal ene Leganés Real Madrid ne Mallorca ena ebo table still Mallorca ehia victory na watumi aboram na the last European sport and Celta Vigo win to me abo mo pa ye say some other 7th with 52 points Real Betis 58 points Villarreal 61 points and a victory for Villarreal will mean say betumi akwakoda 4th position na afi bibia so no etumi akọ ye honum Real Madrid I was say omuhia winning because after disappointing defeat to bubukwa ye freno Barcelona no naka hu akoba se was so mutumi in any match no then as a probable lineup a bit ma ba no Courtois better post mu Valverde bebo 2 Asensio ne Ramos enable Garcia ebebo left back Adagula Luka Modric Dani Ceballos Jude Bellingham Mbappe Brahim Diaz omo mo prana de do so pa Vinicius mo match we bi saso na Chouameni so yellow cards want to mean see akan Rudiger has been suspended Rodrigo almost a thigh injury Mendy and so hamstring injury and Lucas and also hand injury Eda Militao nail injury Cavalier nail injury and groin injury Camavinga and Alaba when do you say injury situation I war Madrid side no I know them pa these are the news ba me de amount honum na obetumi join show no live Facebook Street is watching on Facebook Street is watching Facebook but na join na fe bibia so no entumi enkoye yes Street is watching o join na mo de na wa share show no na fe obia so ahu de ekọ ene de eba ene de us ne bibia bro na yetumi adidi na fe bibia so no atumi adem atumi akoye honum na ene de abeto dwane se Manchester City and I think crofone ni abrepa omo rebuilding no momo shomu team ni ye papa no makorem AC Milan Tijani Rendes amozo mo kofa no na ukọ Bayer Leverkusen so a Abrante FN Fabian Wirtz amose omukọ akofa no honum ti utimi se nyasem keto akora omuto edi agumpa nti that is the signing na ene ekwa me ka ama so hu de ekọ ne de eba honum yes ukọ Telegram obe hu sports arena bomoda na join Telegram account na bibia so na tumi akoye honum join a Telegram account no na bibia so no entumi enkoye honum ukọ TikTok sports.arena.news na yede videos ahodo na ekogu honum ti join my bet online radio obeti enkasa so na my bet.africa TV my bet na so ya sen the can say utwa bet nkwa na wodi a my bet for on be send message aka cho se krache esrewa se wodi enti check o balance no who be say wadi na fe watwe de go momo account no na fe bibia so no etumi akoye Vincent mo akwaba
yeah listo major so
yeah bia kama de
nyame adum bia eboko
yeah Andra La Liga games no betumi ko so fine Girona after a very good season last season, this season very disappointing. They were fighting relegation, and it appears that their victory against Rayo Endra not to me up Oma, and we will see them next season or La Liga. Ne Villarreal bebo other team Real Madrid so better everbo. Inra games in them.
All right. My main games in na we are my ba the transfers, no. Some of the teams may start and best start with Chelsea. Nyame much na. I'll go into Arsenal then Friday Namibia United. The teams know some of the players, the pros and cons and how things a bit miyako. But listo obakaya nra me kawaha about a drew crucial stage say ayana games nibi waha it's very hard to predict. Because there are teams who have points. Some of the teams who are, I mean, they also need a point. And Girona Valladolid game, you know, I mean, was a game. Catch us say it was a game that never expertise goes. In fact, Valladolid for no him say, "Ona near Cristiano Ronaldo, the almost friend the real Ronaldo, the Brazil Ronaldo, R9. One day owner, ama ne so bekaya. One Valladolid ne Barca boy, you know, there was a fake currency." Euro currency bia omode Ronaldo picture to switch say what be say team nukra the how he's doing the football business na yade so I mean in fact Valladolid from the fans perspective club perspective presidents and then the relationship you know I break it down and a lot of things are of course you know hard and in fact there are a lot of clubs are Neska wom ene ukopi mo Serie B listo ene Sampdoria Masin free Serie B mako the third division sorry the second division Italy mountains so I mean there are times some of these teams will go into crisis but I mean they are two Villarreal no sorry Valladolid no I wasn't expecting to come especially a former player who played the game to the highest level won the Ballon d'Ors arguably people believe that he is the best striker in the history, or maybe if not the best, one of the first three. Or betting Yakahobi, and how he's on one club. I mean, you say whether you've played a game or you've not unyambo game, football management and sports business, right now is a big industry. I say if not I don't know if I drew a billion. The last time I checked wasn't billion industry is it a multi-million something
multi-billion dollar
industry and the thing is whether you've played the game to the highest level or not you have to hire people with the right expertise to run your club for you so now checking Girona but beyond no he's in the safe zone whether or losing the next games in Yana but I mean they also need the points just to stack up right now they are 45 points if they're able to win their next two games it means that Omenya 47. That is if Rayo Vallecano fails to win in the next two games. Because Rayo for at least I got 3 games on my board. They will play Real Betis, then they will play Celta Vigo, anything when they Mallorca. And doesn't look like they are not going to get a point out from this game. So Enra game was was a mere game. I think that Valladolid wasn't in the party. Also, Sociedad and Celta Vigo. Who check his Celta Vigo and our Sociedad? I mean, it's quite unfortunate. Say, Omulusu home. In fact, Oko Sociedad home the Real Arena San Sebastian. One of the venues maybe announced some years ago, and even the start of the season. Now, Ed in that basket community hall. Akakosha Sociedad. But I mean. The starting season, there's been a lot of things to be very honest, we check your last 5 games. I'm winning just one. Last 5 home games. I'm winning just one. And the Kwako see their last 7 games. Just one game penalty. There was a time they were able to win 5 games consecutive. back to back. And then their last 7 games. So Neman Ecos was San Sebastian. I mean, it's something that I mean we are not. And they are familiar because they're regular because this is a team about 15 games. No, this is just one. And Crampo that surprising victory at Getafe coaching and 3-1. So rest of that game was something that I wasn't expecting. That results to come, especially Ocheke Celta Vigo. He's also one of the teams looking at where they are. No, they also need to secure a spot in the Europa League. So they needed the point. Because baby Sociedad no. It doesn't look like if Nkenwa Nkotimi winning game now. Nkobeko 46 points, and if he's able to win the last 2 games, at least the Conference League a bit more guaranteed, and even the the Europa League qualifications a bit more. But then but be wababe lusuni game no, and check the number of games he will play Girona and he also play Real Madrid. At least out of these 2 games no, Mitzma guarantees that maybe he can get 3 points. But playing against Gruna Crampon, any game by Abrajo, Edibama, a year Real Sociedad for and Real Madrid last game of the season. I don't think Sociedad is going to win that game. So it was a clear opportunity for them. But then Celta Vigo wants to qualify, wants to play the Europa League next season, and they mean business. They were the better side yesterday, and they won the game. And I know the only disappointing thing is that you know over 1.5 goals over that game anymore, and especially the double chance for Real Sociedad. They are a high investors, especially Real Sociedad. Even if they are playing at home, that's all winning crowd overs about more than 2 goals.
Yeah, some brutal players or wapa
because
you don't know what to expect. They can't score,
and they started the season too very well.
Oh,
and I think that Sevilla. Las Palmas. No, this was one of the games spending most of my time and no, my choice was that Las Palmas they are also trailing. They're not no more 29 points. If they are able to win, because already now Leganés and Alaves and your 2 crucial wins prior to a moment game on Baltimore. Right now, checking the league table list. Leganés on the 18th position, no 34. Las Palmas were 32. Valladolid already came away. Right now, the battle ababe between Alaves, Getafe, Leganés, and the Las Palmas. Espanyol there, as a baby order no whole song kakra because 39 points. If he's able to get even a point out of the last 2 games, I can't 5 games. Right now, Las Palmas about 36 games. I can't Leganés and a year Timanidin at the Alaves to play. Right now, with Leganés games, they will play Villarreal. No about Las Palmas and they on any relegation zone. Then they will play against Valladolid. Right now, the game against Villarreal is guaranteed. And my Leganés obeshe. And right now, a winner Las Palmas and no munya a sweet victory for them because least all if they are going to miss Leganés, now Leganés lose to Villarreal and they also win against Las Palmas. Las Palmas for sure Leganés or Muhoma. It means that they are going.
Oh, okay.
Inte ne uchaki Leganés ne order the 18th position just 2 points ahead of Las Palmas in list all. Or no about 35 games. But I can't 3 games and then obebo Villarreal. But don't check the league logger. Villarreal's list all. Oh, here the Champions League spots. So there's no way Villarreal will sit at home. Obetnafi ama Leganés akwakwachina. It means that if Leganés akwakwachina, it means that Leganés also needs the points. So in this game, especially Villarreal ne Leganés game no. Obi here point no. This team needs the point to get a Champions League spot. We also here point no to Savage and also wait me free the relegation zone. It is going to be a game. I expect both teams to score, but then their fixture looks very unlikely for Leganés. Looking at especially where they are going to play, because Villarreal for no, they don't care say almost Marco relegation. They need a Champions League spot. It is something that it's part of the coach KPIs, the players or more KPIs. So I think that is going to be very difficult. And the decider, Las Palmas and Leganés game in the Estadio the Gran Canaria. Las Palmas for home, and it's going to be the decider if Omusha they will leapfrog Leganés with 1 point, and the last game Ebekano almost beat me Eddie Ako. So I think that Las Palmas, if komutimi epic even a point cry na nke betimi abom but yes Sevilla for so I mean about 4 point ni yehwe omoje point and so sa game so a game at least no over 1.5 so entimi MP so I think that the no games and especially in the area La Liga no was
very disappointing.
Very disappointing games.
Very disappointing.
Because teams are moving points no. They couldn't get the points. At least if Las Palmas and Konya a single point at least all and can the chances of qualifying ahead of A Liga is no it be very easy for them. But right now it means that they have to win against Las Palmas and also in normal last game Omebobo in winning against Leganes and normal last game Omebobo against Espanyol no also team share Espanyol 18 qualify so their last 2 games is going to be very difficult but if Gadomo to me a savage even a pointer but no all the 3 games course in the La Liga list or no now a year under 1.5
yeah share a year and the matches no kakra na sana be ra transfer mu Bologna any yeah bobo kwa friend no AC Milan bebo omebo a Coppa Italia final and I'm very impressed with AC Milan though one would say the coach got enough opportunity to make AC Milan a better team but I feel the bounce no the new management bounce in the na take effect now on one kasa apply the ideas no be difficult be a lot issue and it took them some time he went under a lot of pressure and now Huntino ebe told you say after the season they will allow him to go but I feel that with the current resource we share a year the game from Omoni Interball 1-1 Ball Fiorentina 2-2 Ekoshe Udinese 4 lose to Atlanta since that time they've not lost and even from the 1-1 now American so today they've only lost 1 game lose only 1 game and Osha a baby omoda sisi they are just 4 points from a Champions League spot. Though you say the almost 2 matches against AS Roma and Monza no it be difficult especially against AS Roma but form no they can beat AS Roma because they've been able to beat Bologna. This Bologna team has been taking big teams to the cleanest. But they similar na simple. After all reverted to the 3-back system, Onya Abrante Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the team. Now it appears that he's gotten a system bringing the best out of the team. They are scoring goals and winning difficult games. If he's able to win the Coppa Italia today, and he doesn't finish in the top 4, but finishes in any of the European winner, will you allow Conceição to continue as an AC Milan or mobile sack a new coach Dinaba? Yansha and only the game itself.
Okay, I think that Ochake the game and with a Bologna Milan game no. I think that AC Milan for already this season I say I'm Martina Bologna for Nigeria so for the number of games on my board and Medican catch was say Ochake Bologna their team especially they are strong team whenever they are playing at home, no doubt about that. But you see, AC Milan Solisto, the team they started the league on a very high note, and they do baby no. Now Kwakwa say defensively they are not solid. Into check omu defenser since the player now is it Kalulu? They don't need to worry about they no call Juventus. They haven't had that stability. Omu defense. Nti ne bon se ne tia obo. Se tia wamba ene bon se Pavlovic. Ene Gabia ene ebo. E ho ha bon se coach na bo 3 back. They were about Tomori, Pavlovic, ene Gabia mu nyina bom. But you see, when almost started season, in Milan say list or no more a 4-back system. But in recent times, let's check their last game, especially against Bologna. Almost set up with that 3-back system, and it is something because especially goal scoring wasn't difficult for them this season because they have Rafael Leao, they have Pulisic, and even at the start of the season, now Abraham. Any Lukajovic Mushe goes until injuries were setting on Kokofa Santiago Jimenez and then Baba and son and January some Kokofa a Joao Felizinaba. But any when injuries are setting in, Ruben Loftus-Cheek started season is very well. And in that midfield of Musa Loftus-Cheek and Tijani Randes no was a gamer and I was a 3-man midfield and Yepa. But right now, almost last 4 games, almost bought 3-back system. And it's one of the main reasons why at this season, whenever the Omushia Inter for intimation,
yeah,
that 3-back system, because with Hernandez and Alejandro Jimenez, these 2 players, Ignacio Hernandez, he's one of the best left backs in the European top leagues for the past 3 seasons, 5 to 3 seasons. Attack or you good, defense or you good, and they have Rafael Leao, Christian Pulisic playing behind Lukajovic, and I either say Santiago or Tammy Abraham. And right now, if they have Ruben Loftus-Cheek, they are going to play him on Tijani Randes. And I said Loftus-Cheek in Yablabo, Omebo Fofana, and Tijani Randes, who has been one of the, arguably to me, AC Milan for best player this season. Into Achakia, their last 4 games, when almost call the 3-back system, I'm almost that defensive stability. Because this season, who check your gamer, no almost at Lulu. Anytime be a Milan bebo game be at least all. If they are losing, especially Uchake almost first league games almost starting this season. I think their first game, round 3 was against Bologna. They scored 2 goals. And then the last minute, almost share and last year bet say the last minute Rafael Leao ebenya that equalizer. And then until then maybe share AC Milan, maybe share Inter and Lecce. Then from Dombia Fiorentina, that game, Fiorentina share they came to equalize in the die MS of the game. Fiorentina sanso shomuti. Omo games omlusu was games they were conceding. They dominated the games, but no more conceding. And it's something it affected almost so much this season. You when Omukosha Real Madrid no, they went on an 8th game unbeaten run, and yet again against Atlanta. Whenever Abra Neye 1-1, die embers of the game. Ademola Lookman, 87 minutes, and Ademola Lookman Sansone Bakuka. Again against Juventus, a dominating game now, 59 and 64 minutes. Juventus show they couldn't equalize. Into this season, no almost season on and off. But they went into the hard time when Omo drop here, when Omo Kobo saw 1-1 draw with Feyenoord in the Champions League. Mm-hmm. And Omo Bafie that very day now, they lost to Torino. That game, an on goal from Thiago, Christian Pulisic say a penalty. Tijani Randes, take in the 74 minutes, and yet again, right under 2 minutes, Randes, take an moment, almost also a concede. After that game, Bologna Sansu Shomu this season. That game made some catch was Bologna at home, a very difficult so between Akoshomo. Rafael Leao Enya the first goal for Milan, and then Bologna take right after in the second at 48th minute, and the die embers of the game. Abranta and the Eddie Ndoye in the 82nd minute. Osansu Beshe Milan against Lazio. Bimo Sansu lose 2 so 3 times in a row. They also scored first, and the die embers of the game almost share first goal, and then they Timanidin Eddie Lazio Ebetiti can die embers of the game 90+8. And then they Lazio for a penalty on the T Kano. So that was the 3 games Omolusu Tuaso. And since then, after losing that 3 games on the bounce, Omolusu just 2 games in over 12 games on my ball. That is the lose to Atlanta and then the one to Napoli. So since Omuchenji, after that Lazio game, when Ombeshia Lecce almost started some about that 3-back system, almost started some use Walker. Least of all, things have been going well for them. Some more Jimenez on the right wing back. You have done Kyle Walker on that side, and that 3-back system has been the magic for Omo in the last couple of games. Omo, to be very honest, against Bologna, I think that is going to be very difficult. Just 3 of Omo last Coppa Italian finals, and then who both teams to score in the game. No, Milan, least of all, they have nothing to lose.
Okay.
Omo lose this game, it means that there's not going to be any European competition for them, especially Ucheke the league logger. Baby Omodano, it doesn't look encouraging. Provided say right now Omo faith no ejina team so. It means that also Lazio, Roma mo, any the teams no more play the sports for Europe no. These teams have to lose because Ucheke the Serie A league table now. The 5 teams occupy the champions. The 4 teams occupy the Champions League spots no. Napoli, Inter Milan, and Atlanta. I count 1 point and now 1 slot for grab, and that is between Juventus, Lazio, and AS Roma for me.
Okay.
Juventus 64 points, Lazio 63 points, 64 points, and Roma 63 points. And right now, Lazio occupy the Europa League spots, Roma occupy the Conference League spots, and not checking the number of points behind Roma and AC Milan, just 3 points. Until right now, if Milan winning the games, now Roma any Lazio every no more games it means that AC Milan is not getting any European spots. It means that almost destiny any more they have to depend on, I mean, whatever results ever happen with these teams, and especially with Bologna or also on AC Milan or no ahead of AC Milan. And in fact, the remaining games are against Fiorentina, and then the last game of the ball against Genoa. And Fiorentina so used to also pay European spots, but he's also far away from that. In the next game, no, it's going to be very dicey. But with the current form and how Milan focus on form, especially the venue we are playing the game today, a better decider. That venue na game no, very important to AC Milan for no, if they are going to win, especially since Bologna mum and Nebo Homa, and would have been a very difficult game. But this is a team at least all. Since Omunusu that 3 games in 2 as well, Omu reforms. Started right now. We are going to that 3-back system to give them that defensive stability. No Muhiano this season. They've gotten that.
Okay.
Omenya had defensive stability. No, and in fact, Omu goalkeeper Magmenian this season, Obenya has some bad patch. But in fact, if or any element in Odagwa, he's one of the best goalkeepers.
Yeah. Because
on the French national team #1, to be the French national team #1, list all. I mean, you have to be there. You have to be there at that level. So I think that defensive stability, no menya no, Abu move very well so much in this game, and they don't really have a lot of injuries. Almost set up anymore. Menya, Tomori, Gabia, Pavlovic, Jimenez, Fofana, Tijani Randes, and Luka Jovic, Pulisic, Rafael. All these players are available. Same as Bologna. Bologna for no, they are going to miss Ndoye because Ndoye out of this game. Then I think that Nicola Cabiani and Benjamin Dominguez a player who made me start. But apart from that Ndoye, the last time at Bologna for share Milan or the Lara Stadium, no, or no, that is the only player. Maybe he won't be able to play. But aside that, also
we know Stadio Olimpico.
Yeah, Stadio Olimpico.
Yeah,
and I did a bit about. But then I think that least of all this game, we check the last 9 Coppa Italia games Medican can say Ayana both teams to score in time, but I'll give Milan a slim margin chance to qualify, especially in the group stage, you know. Okay. Sorry, in the entire minute, you know, maybe a double chance for AC Milan. But I see AC Milan. Maybe if game require extra time, Milan will win. I see Milan winning this cup.
So the probable lineup for the game here, Skorupski will be in post. Calabria, someone in Calabria.
Yeah.
Former Milan player. And Bikuma, so then Sam Bikuma. And this defender, John Lukumi, very, very, very good defender.
Yeah.
One Miranda, then Abisha, Frula, Ossolini, ana Fabian, yes, Giovanni Fabian, ana Gambiagi, na branch friend Castro, ana started. Omo ntumi mbone no. Martin Elich, doubtful. Do I out crana down in Doye, Emil Home, James Odegaard, and branch friend Stanis Pedrola. Oko a year AC Milan Akacha, Magna, na Tomori, Gambia, and Pavlovich. Then I Lucas Hernandez, and away Tio Hernandez. And Abrante friend Alex Jimenez, on wing backs. Fin 2 near Tijani Randes, and Ruben Lotufchik, Christian Pulisic, Rafael Leao, and Abrante friend Santiago Jimenez. It's when a probable lineup for both teams.
Yeah. So I think that with this lineup, I still see AC Milan. Winning the Coppa Italia.
All right. Okay. Right. Yansha games in there for Yamasha and AC Milan.
Yes, I think in draw game also between Sunderland, any team a friend Team FN Coventry was one of the most exciting games in the playoffs. I bet me in championships for playoffs. I think that is so. Be a game who said this is what we call football. Sometimes in football, we be at me within 90 minutes, but within the extra time, no one yellow here fit into me and outside. It was a good game. Frank Lampard going to the game, trying to get that crucial goal to get them into that playoffs final. Obi a bet me who said the performance of his team from minute 1 to minute 76 or they share that crucial goal was something that was important for them. And one thing I've liked about Frank Lampard, they say about coaching and man management, he's one of the best, especially at the level with the crop of managers on your mutimi every that football career and it was a crucial game. And Obioshe game the first half of the extra time went for Team FN Coventry. They performed so well. No BNM said they would get that crucial goal to qualify ahead of Sunderland. Sunderland fans, the crowd showing man team to be were disappointed with the results occurring in the 90 minutes. But that crucial goal in that last minute of the extra time, and it's me boy and the Sunderland it's me qualify ahead of Coventry. And Tembia because in football, we share in draw results nearby and the time ago in the buyer. It's better to lose 4-0 than concede that crucial late goal, sir. And I'm also no. You be able to Sunderland with Sheffield United in the final. I bet said Nyama in draw Valladolid any Girona game. Maybe count has said this season. Upe team second half and omutai show goals are Girona. In draw bet I'm the match phone and said the second half 0.5 for team FN Girona because in the first half mostly Elmo slow game. This is no man who said. In the first half, Omuko more attacker, it cost them games. So they've been games that they've lost massively in the first half, a second half, Omuntimimba and recover. So now they've adapted the strategy of okay, now in the first half, almost slow game now against any team on your mobile. Then in the second half, they see what they can do and draw. They got that crucial goal in the 80th minute at Etimia Bomb. And they will share the La Liga table. Even though say it do some time they were in the relegation battle. With their recent performance in their last 3 games, no say your mama better 13 from the league logger and then Inyama Koye. Valladolid say a team be a relegation in the La Liga on your beboni team because of 16 points or the next team won the strawberry team Las Palmas on 32. And I don't think that too much is now can we need now they'll get closer to Las Palmas. In Siababa the relegation battle now be between Espanyol, Alaves, Leganes and the Las Palmas, and it's a crucial game for Leganes. Games of na set and the teams no more that they chin na ayede abo into a mom winning him no and a mom boy. So what they need to do is they need to take advantage of every game on Bebo. But in draft Saturday Vigo game on so boy, it was one game I wasn't expecting a lot of goals in it because in Spain I called the last minutes or the last days of the Liga, goes no Obia per se, especially more battle relegation, no more baby ejinano. Obia per se or making sure say Nyama bet me akoni. And the Europa sport are available for Spain too. Celta Vigo Mian who say quite bia, so they need to maintain that spot.
Yeah.
Or name team a friend Betis and April and Valladolid into we Vallecano and so Edo Mechi or so said they can get into that spot. And they've been able to cement that spot with a win against Real Sociedad. You know himself was a game and Real Sociedad should have had a win ahead of Celta de Vigo. But Celta de Vigo this season performance what done in the La Liga, and they will show their games they go into and make sure say if they can win they get a point. Indra Sevilla on the other hand no so a crucial point to be able to make sure say relegation battle na ekoso no obetimi atwe ne ho afim nti Indra ka say going for Sevilla and it's a Sevilla straight win emami. I'm not seeing anything like 1.5 or over 2.5 for BBI because they need just a goal to be able to pull themselves away for our relegation battle now. In draw multi years, you're more 41 points. Okay, Getafe and boy, Espanyol and boy, Alaves and boy. These are teams if they are to win today, they get closer to Sevilla. In Sevilla, the games are 2 games are canning. So to me born home wedding. It's making sure say against Real Madrid, against Villarreal, which are 2 teams that they are on top form. And so Timinya at least a point against these 2 teams. And you beat me abuano. I think La Liga race on the top side now easier for the Champions League sports for
relegation for
relegation for no. And as is your more than in Yamania, it will be a very crucial last few 2 games.
Team what disappointed me here.
Girona.
No. Las Palmas.
Yes, because this is Nomunya good form.
Yes, at some point they were on very good form, and Obianim said they will battle for relegation. But after recording a back-to-back victory against a top team like Las Palmas, Getafe, and Atletico Madrid, Atletico Madrid 1-0. They lost 1-0 to Atletico Club, then lost 2-3 to Valencia. Or three film of Vallecano Beshen 1-0 and then Wakulusu to Sevilla.
Yes, after beating Barcelona 2-1, Obenya a good result at so like 5 times. No be him said they are on top form. Kopim say Getafe are not in play. Sometimes Getafe done it chikra,
Getafe shen 2-1. Then Madrid
and on the form netiko ya Kopim so besha Atletico. No be him say with that Atletico no would revive senior Barcelona at the end by 3 Okono.
For defeat, at least to me 1 win po a woman.
Yes.
A bit pushing baby or that. But still, obey to me I escape there. Obey to me I escape or now 32. And Alaves were 35. Leganes were 34. Until 2 nebe then we now they will play next matches in here. Only Leganes. It is only Leganes. Ultimately Leganes. Chese, we pinning Leganes down. Then we call Espanyol home at the last game.
Yeah.
I think only 2 victories we are possible. Say, obey to me. I escape. My mention Alaves so ne matches aka. Alaves boy no Valencia. Also only be free sa game we mo. At least a draw, win or draw. And as yes, win or draw. One Valladolid ebeko akobo. In say Valladolid echo relegation. Now if we were hosting, I think the Alaves games, you know. We should be order onya draw me nukra na. It will be enough for him. Yes, so that is that yenhwe the akano.
Okay, inti my member we consider any we AC Milan there. So I think we consider one thing at AC Milan for I think they've not been able to have belief and respect for coach Efreni Conceição. I didn't make us and he came into a season their team were like in a bad shape. A very, very bad shape. I know they need to revive their career, they need to revive their season here because if they don't do that, they can't get into the Champions League. And this is a coach or by in 2 finals. With Timiashi Inter Milan, Timiaji those 2 trophies. And Osha always have been complaining, say the players on the pitch don't show seriousness for the coach. And Nuntina Conceição from time Obefa AC Milan, every time Biabe who say obey changes. Now or the likes of Chukwu Emekamo and Abim. Chukwu Ezemu na Abim, Amo Metimi Ababe then Ababeti. or meet me actually 2-1, not team number betty and a whole lot of things. But one thing I mean about Conceição is that he's an experienced coach. About playing in finals, about cup competitions, about positions he needs to win a game to be able to get a 3 points or win a trophy. He's one of the best coaches. You from Porto, Adio Timidi, the likes of Arsenal, and some of the top teams. About AC Milan, say Inter Milan being a top club, no, he can be able to take trophies from them. With AC Milan, Oshe Omo trophy, we're going into this Coppa Italia. The 2 times Ometimia called the last Coppa Italia finals, the AC Milan and Inter should go in 90 minutes, and they lost to Team Omnium Boy. But today, you know, with their coach Odio Menimi Conceição, the way they've performed in finals, and they are looking out for say that performance or what they did in 2 finals, he can bring it to this and help them win. I think season it and they are quite be so say similar per quite be so a keep coach a friend Conceição in their team because he's one coach and he has been able to make things even though it's a time of a team not till now no that Champions League sport are no more so betting and some more 1 or 2 additions be on year they were looking at these players reviving their season into Miankoye, but he has been a top coach and to keep him in the Serie A will be something to help the league in general and also help AC Milan in general because you know the likes of Inzaghi, Antonio Conte and Gasperini fighting for the league title. It is help say in the ultimate the title race in next season. You need a top coach like Conceição. I think to me he has done superb well with this AC Milan setup, winning them trophies. Even times I don't think the AC Milan fan be a better say at the end of the season. No, she say club ni beti me winning trophy. Yes, not qualifying for the Champions League is a very big blow for them. But one thing I'm going to say. He needs to revive his team next season. Next season, AC Milan with 1 or 2 additions. No, they'll be one of the top sides in the Serie A.
Okay, right. Yansha transfers and even kakra. Yansha transfer. I said this. Barca Thursday we know to Magic or Beja League. You know, If was Espanyol 1 victory away, and I think they will beat them. Yansha transfers. No,
okay.
Yansha transfers. Niza. Kinsella or a journalist Trevor Chalobah will be told he will either be a backup option or can leave. Has there been any doubt about this? He has never been respected, but there be anytime you need him, he is there for you. Why will you tell him say we'll stay or be a backup or he can leave? I don't get it.
It was part of my submission. I'm thinking Chelsea transfers in India, man. I think that with Chalobah there, the Chelsea hierarchy believes that if Wesley Fofana is there, he's going to be the main man. That is the plan. If Fofana is fit right now, I started year training, and even they don't want to rush him, especially maybe in the Club World Cup. Fofana will get some minutes. Then to the next season, he's going to be the main man. They believe that the surgery now, will also help avoid the continuous injuries at Onya. So with Fofana being available, they believe that Chalobah, some of the players be more our Crystal Palace, he was playing, and Crystal Palace very ready to beton. So if because of player not now, the agencies, the management firms, what we ask now, when they are negotiating deals, they also want to get that me player at least he will play. So about team na do a cha another contract to come. So be almost the agency no list because the moment who move a player no so then they also getting money to pay their PRs, their people lawyers in the agency. So they are clear that if Chelsea do not want to, I'm cleared to Chalobah and try to say, we are one of our own. We have Chalobah, we have Fofana. You trying to cut more than you. Your Fofana, he believes that he's the starter ahead of you. If you can be a backup to Fofana, yes, we can work with you. But if you cannot be, yet mean guarantee say Tinchina obey starter. Intino say yet man yes and one body then mutual respect. We love you, but yempe baby man ne fanko. Now I started from where Chelsea needs to strengthen. I think that I hear too clear that the main parts Chelsea here are 3 positions. And Nizia Kensala now kind or a Chelsea correspondent for BBC. And with Enzo Maresca, I'm aware say there are a lot of players who believe in the team. Senior players. In fact, players that they will get a lot of money. But listen, reported for Chelsea ban said there are only 2 players. And at Chelsea for no, everyone said these players are untouchable. Just 2 players. Bako, Cole Palmer, and another one, Moises Caicedo. So Bekaya, this year na Chelsea for extending Cole Palmer contract. Before na Cole Palmer extending the contract, he had 7 years on the contract. So 7 years on the contract, but yes, Chelsea wanted to reward him for a pay rise, and then nobody extended the contract. And Yami Adman, right after the season, Chelsea will announce that Moises Caicedo is going to extend the contract with the club because they want to. Because Caicedo is almost 8 years or 7 years on the contract, so they want to extend the contract. No matter to Nakachiemu, Senabia. So these are the 2 players the Chelsea hierarchy believes they are untouchable. In fact, none of the Chelsea first team players are on Chelsea currently, and no more contract, at least less than 3 years. So in fact, even around this summer transfer window, the sporting directors they won't be wasting so much time on contract renewals. They won't be doing that. What they are going to do is they are going to sell some of the players. In fact, reporting say a meeting. And if Chelsea wants to buy Victor Osimhen, and they mean so what's your timeline as well?
Yeah.
There's been Osimhen to Chelsea is getting close. Right now, they believe that if they want to fight, so we are the Champions League sport now. It means that the main thing, now say Enzo Maresca and say, Obi taking the club to where they belong. And in fact, they also win the Conference League. They are getting where they, but they will need experience. And not checking report by now. The Chelsea actually believes Rich James, somebody who is introvert. Obi Moises Caicedo, who is also part of the leadership, introvert. So maybe catch us say the reason why maybe Tosin Adarabioyo will still stay at Chelsea because of the players omu friend grandpa and uncle. And aside that, there are also 2 players with that leadership quality, which is Liverpool over 22 years and Abraham Adi Enzo Fernandez. These are the 2 players the hierarchy believes that these are players of leadership. So in going for Victor Osimhen, player with a class, experience, and no be other opponents. And so Chelsea, let's check the Chelsea transfer now. There are 3 main positions. Apart from say, working on the outgoings, players are Omaya Cake, Ben Chilwell, Renato Vega, Raheem Sterling. I don't know if because of new wages £300,000 a week. Because of new wages, if they don't get a permanent club for him, Obesanko loan the following season, on the contract, and then Chelsea will pay half of that wage. Also, Joao Felix, any other Wesley Ogochukwu, I like his job because of the return of Dario Sogwa, and they believe that Obabe had a backup to Moises Caicedo, and then Andre Santos are also Sanso Babeba. And the player here didn't call Dortmund. Can they Chukwu Emeka? Dortmund for person motor, but they are asking for Chelsea to reduce the price. So these are the outgoings Chelsea will be working on. If you are working on the 2 key players and the 3 key players I ever signed on this season. Others will also be working on the outgoings. Right now, Chelsea, listen, there are 3 strikers. In fact, 4 strikers, and then Chelsea for and Obi or Chelsea be aware of the lack of quality in finishing. And then that is one thing that has stopped Chelsea team from taking the next step. In fact, who watch the Chelsea team this list? Chelsea are missing 77 big chances this season, the second highest in total over the Premier League this season. So they believe that if Kopama is not scoring for the team, no, I'll be idea a hard year, and no to solve that problem now. They'll be up there competing for the ultimate next season. Last summer, Omone Victor Osimhen didn't come up, but the wage demand least to uncommodity any bad deadline, and because of the wage demand into Chelsea and team signing Victor Osimhen. And right now, we check the market. The options are marketing now. Chelsea hierarchy believes that it's not good enough to add to whatever Nicholas Jackson was. So that is the reason why I January the man can cover player, because they believe that in as much as Nicholas Jackson and me my that number of goals, whatever he offers in Sobekaya and tomorrow's interview, or say if they get a photocopy of Nicholas Jackson, they are okay.
Yeah.
Because at that moment they believe that if Jackson Crab and she goes they have a certain co-palmer, a bit of amount 20 goals, 20 assists, said on the man at Chelsea last season. And they believe that Omunya, another winger, Obetimia provided even half of Kopama goals if the left wingers, the right wingers, and even one of the players on the ball in midfield, and even the number of goals are Marco Correa. And so Atima stacking up this season. If even 7 of the team are able to provide half of the goals Kopama will give you the season, they believe that they are prepared for a greatness. But you see, after the start of last season, Jackson had a difficult start, and we're missing 2 months with injuries and a red card. I know what and now no game or Becca. So 10 goals in 30 games. Yeah, idea Becca say and shut down so any. But the sources at the club in the say, we are happy because of the 31 million deal Omunya free Villarreal, but they believe that they are aware of play and progress. Where he came from, he spent just 2 years at Villarreal. This is a player who moving by Europe and Chile or actually a lot of things. So they believe that even if Nicholas Jackson and Shada ain't that prolific, they bought him for 31 million. Right now, if Jackson bought 2 seasons, no because of Moton Jackson, they can get that 30 million at least or Milton from Villarreal. So they are not rushing even Nicholas Jackson any moment in time. But right now, at least all, Chelsea also believes that apart from goal scorer, they have to so the kind of goal scorer will determine where they will also finish at the Champions League spot. Because if you are not playing the Champions League, they are not going to waste so much money. So make 300,000 to say Victor Osimhen and also pay 70 million. So they are looking at the pros and cons. And then so instead I'm going into the final Premier League matches. I'm about United and also the final Europa League Conference League. They are also finding the later finisher in Chelsea wish listing and list to all. He found these strikers. Right now, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, and even PSG. These are teams that they are all looking for top strikers for next season. Right now, Victor Gyökeres, a player, Arsenal, United for United. Liam Delap, who go Ekitike, or no a entrant Frankfurt. And I know Napoli for player Victor Osimhen because Obo loan and then Uko take here. Galatasaray fans after 3-year campaign said the club should try as much as possible to maintain Victor Osimhen our club name. But right now, list all in each of every player in Biad, Chelsea for a year pros and cons. The transfer fee, the wages, Champions League next season. You better maintain work ticket, you better maintain the lab. So they are more yet survey pros and cons said way back. Then what do we have to do? They are doing that analysis and they are strike and make fan. Eban Dilapa, Sikasem list to the relegation release clause about 30 million. They can buy him, and that has been an opportunity because they believe that this is a player Obano team of 15 goals attached to World Kopama, and even the wingers will give you a bit more guarantee with a top 4 finish or a league finish. So they can capitalize on that. And anything one reason why, especially Ineos for no new minority leader you by Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That cutting down cost all you know. Also, a monk of foreign pressure say, Oma Beredam pressure say, Oman Cocophobia, they need the lap because they believe that or taking the box and a price and also very cheap. And the United game on Cocoa and kind Nanka United go back Glazers for this war. United staffs, players, or more OPR complimentary tickets for more families. But right now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe buy, we're cutting down workers of more United. I will be doing 500 pay. Right now, or more or showing you maybe I know you can no amount double tax. he's not going to provide for the most of the staff. I mean, Ruben Amorim, when your coaching said he will pay for that complimentary ticket for the staffs now more. Ultimately, the family and no friends. I will share the Europa League final. And right now, Osimhen and Victor Gyokeres, list all reporting just say they will be available for market for not less than 60 million pounds. But Omami will command huge wages. So that's the mechanism. The lab beba 30 million, the wages and yet very huge. But Victor Gyokeres and Victor Osimhen, these players will not come cheap, not less than 60 million pounds, but they will demand high wages. Aside that, Benjamin Sesko, any Gyokeres Muinazu players they are under the new Arsenal for almost sporting director Andre Berta. They are under a year Sao Nireda, and they also want to sign these strikers. The reason why Ishak Inyamba conversation is that it will be very difficult for Newcastle or Beton Ama teams they will be competing with following season. Even if Omunia a Champions League football, a bit more guarantee almost they can keep a year Victor Alexander Isak. Apart from the striking role, Ababe cleared at least all. There are 4 strikers available for Chelsea to sign one. Hugo Ekitike, Liam Delap, Benjamin Sesko, Victor Osimhen, and Abraham Victor Gyokeres. These are the players, and Chelsea are doing the pros and cons. If they qualify for the Champions League,
I think the caliber of striker will be different, and
yes.
if they don't qualify,
yes.
the striker will be different.
Anytime I can say, I'm checking the pros and cons because listen, someone qualify for the Champions League, they won't spend more than 60 million, and also more than 250,000 wages, for either Victor Gyokeres or Victor Osimhen.
Okay, Mami be some way, sir. Now Chelsea want a left winger, and Obian himself. If you sell our project, nice. Every will be our bet 2 money be obey interested, so obey joining. So somebody like Rodrigo, if Chelsea qualify for Champions League, Chelsea can only get Rodrigo and Sesko. If Chelsea qualify for the Champions League, Chelsea can only get Victor Osimhen and Gittins. Which of these two? And I'll be taking it. Oh, funny said Chelsea qualify or Champions League because Rodrigo, obviously, a Champions League team will come.
Yeah.
Maybe Arsenal be there.
Arsenal so echo. City so any starting in common.
City so way. Now, maybe you bet me choose Chelsea. Maybe Thiago Silva mo ne be kasa will go to Chelsea near the other. What I say?
Yeah.
These 2 options, which one will you choose?
Yeah, for me, I think that if I'm going to choose between points and apart from the striker, but my main answer question is I think that with me, if Mudryk is back, then Chelsea decides after the season they are going to pay the 25 million release clause for Jadon Sancho.
Oh, yeah, funny say. They will need one. So, like I said, Mudryk still now almost a right winger, a right foot.
The most priority, and then I come and say, with these wingers available, the most priority place the striking role. So with that option now, with Benjamin Sesko and Rodrigo and Victor Osimhen and Gittins. I would definitely go in for Osimhen and Jimmy Gittins because in fact, Jimmy Gittins one of the targets for Chelsea since January for that right wing position when Sancho form Eddie Peye and Mikhailo Mudryk. Now because who checking the kind of profile Chelsea for partner, they need a profiler. Even if Umba as a right winger, Obetna the other side, Asanso as a false nine, Rodrigo etiquette all that boxes. But they also look at the most priority place of Muhia. And the medical can say the striking rule. If they are able to get Victor Osimhen, with that wages, no bit then they will get Gittins. I think that the Chelsea hierarchy will be okay with the Osimhen and Gittins rather than some call for Benjamin Sesko and Abraham and Rodrigo. Because don't forget, if Rodrigo is also coming, he's not going to earn less than 250,000 or even less than 300,000. And that is another factor they also consider. But right now, listen, with after Chelsea for so forward, there are other positions Chelsea would need to strengthen, which is the next priority, the right-footed winger. And Chelsea for are expressing interest in Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittins.
Garnacho di free him fa.
You see, these are the players that almost show interest. They believe that Garnacho, that direct wing play, so these are the two players or more the conversation apart from maybe whatever is Rodrigo or conversation later. And they almost also remaining at one for the past 2 days. There has been Morgan Rogers link to Chelsea, and Nizar Kinsala reported said Chelsea are showing interest. Almost started boy any representatives aiding Komo because he's also a guy he can also play anywhere up front. But right now, no, the only thing ever option I bet me I'm at Chelsea for signing Branton because Branton is signing new contract in November, and obet me he may not be available unless the Premier League profit and sustainability rules no Aston Villa that it will force them to sell. But aside that, there's also a question: either Jadon Sancho is going to stay, Mikhailo Mudryk in his situation, how is it going to be? So I clear that Chelsea is going to sign a right winger. Aside that, Listo, in defense, who said Chelsea show interest in Dean Holsina and they on Real Madrid for April. Branton Akwa say the preferred place first Real Madrid. But the question is, are Real Madrid ready to pay that 50 million release clause? And then they report and they say if they don't have any option, and still Xabi Alonso believes that this guy and Xabi Alonso any better replacement for Branton, Florentino Perez is ready to support a coach, to buy that player. Oh, and they order beba. Right now, Samson him say Crystal Palace Magui. Another player Chelsea also believes obetimi the number, and another player. Let's not forget Chelsea player be Mamadou Sarr or Strasbourg. They also believe that he's one player obetimi be one of the top centre backs, but ultimately him straight. And he's also made aware also betimi a backup, and now he has to fight his way through to the first team. So it might be that if Chelsea are going to maintain Chalobah, then they're also going to maintain Mamadou Sarr. Then the only defender Chelsea beat him at all. Maybe if they have a right price for maybe Bernard Badashel and now maybe Renato Vega, or my possible say they will sell him to Juventus. Right now they need experience. Apart from experience, Listo, the only two players are Chelsea funny believes that they have that experience ultimately by Enzo Fernandez. And they also believe that some of the youth players, even if Senior Premier League, the EFL and the FA Cups, they can play and play well. Just like how Omointrozi George, Tyreek George, Achampomo, and all these players in the team. Some of them might end up going on loan at Strasbourg. And again, Listo, apart from the young players and the goalkeepers, Listo, reports you say Chelsea for they believe that Darius Sogo will be a backup to Branton and the Moises Caicedo. Estavio Willian will join the team after the Club World Cup. The Club World Cup, he won't play for Chelsea, but right after the Club World Cup, he will join the team. Kandre Paez with the squad depth about the left side, headed down number 10 position. They want him to go to Strasbourg.
Yeah, and he's been there already. Yes.
I was starting here preparations. And then Mike Pendes report nature say if Chelsea for no high beliefs Yimu Sanchez, and I don't know where they are getting that high beliefs, but in fact last time Money Man catcher said in as much as Robert Sanchez I have 5 errors leading to goal, which is the most or the joint most errors leading to goal in the Premier League this season. He's also one of the best goalkeepers, top 3 with match saves in the Premier League or across Europe. So they believe that either of Mike Pendes and Jorgensen, Emubakubeko on loan to Strasbourg to go and replace Branton and Eddie Petrovic, and Petrovic will come. So when Petrovic back, the two goalkeepers are going to fight for position. So Chelsea are not ready to go and break the bank for any other goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I hear clear that Kepa Arrizabalaga is not returning back, and it's also part of the senior players that they are going to sell. Ntene o check the goalkeeping role now. Akwa say I clear that they are not going to sell any goalkeeper. Either they will trust Mike Penders, Petrovic, or they will still believe that Sanchez is still the man to keep the post. But I clear that Petrovic will come. Either say Petrovic and then Sanchez will fight for the post, and I say Mike Penders will also be in there. And so Ababe and Nema continue. List all who check his name now. Apart from Moises Caicedo, the club is ready to renew his contract, no matter rewarding with more money. They believe that even if Real Madrid for Omo show interest in Enzo Fernandez, Omo they say 107 million pounds from coach Yama Benfica and bar, they will sell Enzo Fernandez because they believe that they have Dario Sogo who is going to be a replacement for them, and right now they have 3 players at that position. Omo need 3 players are Ombe Pese. Because on the team sheet, they believe that Caicedo is the first on the team sheet in terms of midfield. But right now, next season, Romeo Lavia, Enzo Fernandez, and Santos are the 3 players who are going to fight for that position alongside Caicedo and maybe Kopama in that position. So if any results and any transfer biaba na clear, they will take that money and let Enzo Fernandez go. So, listo, check here. The only 2 players for me untouchable, Medika Akan, Palmer and Moises Caicedo. And they are going to make sure say there will be 2 or 3 players at one certain position. Marais Medika Akan, every position next season they will have 2 players. Even this season, they will have 2 players, and some certain positions they will make sure say Ometimi have 3 other positions. So, listo, check here. Their transfer, they believe that money PS are funding them issue here because in fact they are going to earn 40 to 90 million pounds from the Club World Cup. I bet clear on books now, mom. They are going to sell a lot of senior players from Mutimno, Benchewo, Kane Chukwuemeka, Amando Broya, Axel Disasi, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Renato Vega, and Joao Felix. List all. They believe that these players can fetch them over 150 million pounds.
Okay.
They believe that I have also clear books, no. Essentially to me, Eddie Amomo. Raheem Sterling, if Omunya club will be reaching in demand now, and the only clubs will be reaching Raheem Sterling demand is Saudi Arabia. And it doesn't, if Sterling will be ready to move to Saudi Arabia club, they will sell him, and then Super Sanso to clear books in the Amomo. So, Listo, who check with Chelsea situation now? They believe that Omar Sanso is signing 2 young talents with Giovanni Quenda and then Dastan Sapte from Tony Free, Kazakhstan team. That young chap, I'm back in 2026, and they believe that if Mamadou Sarr, Free Strasbourg, that defender back, no team be certainly in quickly. They don't need to break them down. So the most priority thing is to get the striker. If Omunya striker now, at the end of the season, they will decide with Trevor Chalobah, send Odi Kankan, either so Obetia Obeye backup. And he will be an integral part of the team. The fact why you're back up and say team in the on they believe that if Chalobah Niwa, there's no other player obey me about that role. No. Unless maybe I'm for any other player for back. I'm Sansu could break it back. A defender will cost more than 50 million pounds. And they are not ready to do that according to the pros and cons in the moment. So list to all. Who check the Chelsea team with the transfer targets this season. The most priority is on the pair striker. Because Nkuku Ebeko, I clear a striker and a winger, and aside that, they will try as much as possible to get 1 defender. Goalkeeper there, they won't buy any goalkeeper. So the 3 main Chelsea best strength, we the striking position through they will sign the right winger. The left wing, they believe that they have Noni Madueke, they have Pedro Neto, and they have even Estavia Oba cover that position. Obesambo as the number 10, Obesambo as the number 10, Asambo as a winger, or Nico Palmer Muna be competing. In fact, Kopama was Obesambo as a right wing. So the right wing and the number 10 position, they believe that they don't have any issue there. Now, the right wing, it means that if none of either Sancho and Mudrik Mubako Everton, they believe there was some song of another player about influential from the right side on team there. So this is the transfer planner. I think that Chelsea for the person for Remo after the season.
Yeah, Benedict, you share side transfers
Okay, so I think concerning Trevor Chalobah issue, I think it's time as a player as well team to I don't think there is much respect coming from this Chelsea faithfuls towards him. Though say yes, he's a pure profit to them in papers. I don't know, but I think as a player, last season, Eka almost few matches to the end of the season. He came in, helped Pochettino and the Chelsea team in being so solid. This season he's showing the same thing. I think it's time for him to move. Meaning, say as a player, Chelsea don't know anymore. That is why Okolo, anytime he has been called up to play any position on the pitch, he puts in his best. But I think he needs to leave. Personally, the agent and then call for so much then he needs to leave, get a permanent club and move. Because we've seen the likes of Disasi, the likes of Badleshe, even the likes of Levi Cole getting that comfortable in this setup. Every time transfer windows we hear conversations about Chalobah. This was a player, Enzo Maresca said he wasn't part of his plans. Yamani training with a younger team named MYBET, but he still comes in and gives his 100%. I think he needs to move and find a better place to be. Concerning options now, on Yabeshe between Rodrigo and Sesko and Gittins and Osimhen. All these are two options as of now the best option Chelsea needs to go for. Victor Osimhen and Gittins. Even if it's just Victor Osimhen without Gittins, I think is the best option as of now. I didn't make us say this season with the sporting directors and Chelsea we board they've seen say if this season Chelsea had a clinical striker in their team, Obetimiama 20 goals. And even if Chelsea had even a player in the profile of Memphis Sabia, Olivier Giroud, even in this Chelsea setup, at least Chelsea wouldn't have been thinking about qualifying for the Champions League or not, because Chelsea have missed out on a lot of chances this season. Enzo Fernandez, Kopama, Noni Madueke, and the others are creating chances, but the strikers are not converting, which has been one of the biggest problems throughout the season. If they are going all in for a player, I think Victor Osimhen is the player they need to go all in for. And now, those who said Chelsea conversations on player signing in Yamana Bafem is based on recent UEFA way or they so say they wouldn't allow them sell the female club to maybe a sister company and ABB, which has been something, and now they are trying to make sure that every transfer they are going in for will be something it would match with their wages and also their transfer budget. And the Champions League qualification would be a key thing for Chelsea. So that is why we are not seeing any. There are rumors coming out, but say concrete rumors is something we are not seeing, because they are looking out for that Champions League qualification and also to see so if they are to qualify for the Champions League, they need to bring in players. Chelsea wouldn't go into the Champions League to just disgrace themselves, but they'll go into the Champions League to perform well and also do something good a bit in Miyaboa club. So as of now, I think they need a striker. And strikers are Matiti Omudin with Sesko, with Goycrest, with Dilap, with Victor Osimhen. Nyamieni Mnukwenu, the strikers fall away to I would pick Victor Osimhen ahead of everybody. So Victor Osimhen is coming for even a higher wage. At the internet said there are three strikers, the other three strikers, no. Those some may fit into the Chelsea profile of Muhiano, but there are a lot of bats around them compared to Victor Osimhen. So I say maybe Udiomuna tour on their bad side. I think Victor Osimhen bad side need a bit more narrow compared to the likes of Goycrest, Sesko, and Dilap. So Osimhen will be the right pick for Chelsea. And this transfer window, so Chelsea, I don't want to see that thing of I'm getting I'm Ganacho, no. The team has already been built. The only problem left is the striker. So Chelsea beat me out of Victor Osimhen and they don't add any other player. I think the team is good to go. Then they'll be following the likes of Garnacho, Gittins, who is a good approach. Team needs almost 40 million, so they should go out for it. Then later, as some the player in the Cologne, I think the only position they need to get is a striker who is good in the box and would like to fight also in the box. Because Obia, if they get in a striker who is good, Nicholas Jackson will come out better. Because if he's on the bench for 2-3 games, now that striker may perform here, Unya a chance, he wouldn't second guess. He will try to be also good. So Unya 2 players and they are performing well, it will help the team in general. Yeah, other transfer news. Manchester City, I think after losing the league title, no, and also going out of the Champions League, Pep Guardiola episode na this summer. I think Manchester City, we look at them, and I think Manchester City a team always they get like the easy criticisms, especially when it comes to transfer. At the Inter-Americans, and say just in January, Manchester City spending 200 million on almost 3 players, and they from January those 3 players who come matches omenya bar and do 20 tempo. The likes of Kushinov, the likes of Nico Gonzalez, they came into this team 200 million, and Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool and Man United and spending this huge sums of money on players and they are not getting minutes or they are not playing. It would have been something. But in the summer transfer, they are looking at adding players, and they who said their conversations with Florian Wirtz. I say Florian Wirtz about England had a discussion with Manchester City and also Liverpool, and the who with Tijani Reinders, also one crucial player Manchester City can get into their setup. And I think the style of midfield that Pep Guardiola is building next season, one year look here, if everything is to go on right for them and they are to get these players, they'll be one of the best teams in the Premier League because Rodri, Emma at that presence, covering up, making sure say ball controlling be very good. Tijani Reinders, Emma the best box-to-box player in the world. Energy in the world. He can score, he can do anything in the box. And now Florian Wirtz, Emma that 10 rule that maybe they'll be missing out from Kelvin De Bruyne. So Manchester City are one club. They make sure say their transfers are on point, and the players they are bringing in, they make sure say they are coming in to fill some particular gap. I think that if they are to get in Tijani Reinders and the likes, I wouldn't be surprised. We are friendly saying Gundogan and Kovacic, if there are any good offer for these players, they will allow them to go because they are looking at adding in players. They would have the energy, they would have the zeal, and they would like to also perform so well. So, transfers Liverpool and so Frimpong, which I think is a very good addition if Frimpong is to join Liverpool. At the price, it's very surprising for me. I think I had 1 or 2 conversations and I make sure say Frimpong, with a Man United beat me I qualify the Champions League, they could enter into this race because his style of play fits the United team perfectly, which is something that they should try. But Liverpool, in your Frimpong, he will be a good replacement for Alexander-Arnold. Cecilia Martins and Liverpool are also looking out for Florian Wirtz. He could come in and partner or share the role with player friend Sabosla, which I think Florian Wirtz and so bad this Liverpool setup, it will help them so well. So transfer in the clubs are trying to do everything fast, especially with the FIFA Club World Cup so send your team add 1 or 2 players to make sure say they can get them into the FIFA Club World Cup. But send them a boss, so the Chelsea needs to get this transfer well, and they need to do it so well. Say they need to prepare and go in for a player. I mean, who said there are a whole lot of rumors about Victor Osimhen, the wage bill, but so Victor Osimhen the 250,000 OG per week. We EPL top 10 highest earners are Georgie 250,000 and put that 8th or 9th position. That is Rhys James more. So he can equally come in at a 250,000. If they are to qualify for the Champions League or not, they need to do that transfer. At the internet, say you can't tell me say you won't qualify for the Champions League until you qualify the lap. The next season we will recycle to the same thing. Say the lap by until me match it to the team standard. Until say Anton the lap and Ajax move back near cover a potent striker ever team. So I think they should get their transfer well, with or without the Champions League. Chelsea needs to do the right transfer this season.
Right, share ne Arsenal na fi. Share ne games no na yanko Madrid. Crack or Madrid game no. Yes. Me game where they say misro. And they will still win.
No. I think they will win. No, I mean,
okay.
Sure. But some of the big teams like this, Mallorca, the Biodano, or also pay a conference league or Europa League sport.
Conference
Real Madrid list to so I bet na I drop a point. Atletico Madrid can overtake him at the second position. So especially playing at the Santiago Bernabeu. I mean, so lose to Barcelona 4 times in a row. Now in the season. Now the 4th game about what lose. Now over home about the next game. I mean you have to make Madrid the team the match tickets are more trouble. Mbappe mo Vinicius mo people are paying money to watch these superstars. You don't have any excuses. Mallorca paying to remember Mallorca Babesho Santiago Bernabeu. I don't see that happen. I mean the best for Mallorca will be a double chance, and this is the Madrid games list of resulting in a lot of goals, especially over 1.5. So the best option I'll be called, even if you are afraid of whoever needs the point or who don't need the point. And I think that the best option will be a double chance and over 1.5 goals. Game no Villarreal Leganes Medicaka. It's a game that everybody needs the point. Villarreal needs the point to secure a spot in the Champions League spots, and Leganes also needs the point to avoid relegation. Even if Leganes is not even a point at least all, it means that Ombeba at par with Alaves, but Alaves a better goal difference than them, and they will still be at the same point. But then if Villarreal sunya a point, it means that only Real Betis points because 61 or 62 and Real Betis so 58 on between Real Betis more 4 points, and even Real Betis winning the next game they will still have a chance but right now Real Betis no more chance na they also want to secure Champions League spots and also win the Conference League, because the so said them cry at least Europa League spot they will secure it in the so I'm not expecting say they will rest more players for Conference League. They know that the more chances are slim, despite the fact that they are going to meet Chelsea. But right now Europa League spot, so much Conference League now they are also going to play in the Europa League, and the Europa League spot they've already secured that for next season 58 points and Celta Vigo 52. The team might be able to pose a little threat. Rayo Vallecano, Mallorca, they're all 47, and I'm moving on next 2 games. They won't catch up, so they will play their maximum best against any team of variable. So Villarreal and now say Obama Real Betis have a fan who. So I think that also that game I'll go in for a double chance for a Villarreal or side game in more. Then I think that another game a be interesting year pass so Alaves and Valencia. This game Valencia list will be done on 4 points in every. Alaves needs the point to run away from the relegation. So he's waiting for Alaves. I won't be surprised. Me surprised because I say Alaves. They will at least a point from this game, and especially they are playing at home. So Valencia, whether he gets the points, also so your points now, bet me remove into the Conference League zone, also fighting for that position. But will be on here point in the year Alaves, so a double chance for Alaves and over 1.5 goals. Also a game no possible. So I think that these are the few games, and I think so called the Eredivisie as well. There's going to be a lot of games, especially Ajax PSV. These are 2 teams that will play the Champions League. Yes, I was 74 because Teki lead so much right now. Ajax is going to play Groningen and PSV, so Heracles. But I think that PSV is going to win. Feyenoord is also going to win, and Ajax is going to be very difficult. But I expect them to, win that game. So these teams need to beat me. I winning. Minister, me daily. Yes.
Time
Into my selection for daily chops PSV and Heracles game straight in for PSV. Bologna AC Milan game away over 0.5, which is AC Milan over 0.5 goals in that game. Real Madrid and Mallorca game a straight win for Real Madrid in that game. And I think the another one Galatasaray game Galatasaray win or draw, and Ajax double chance Feyenoord win into code CSGY.
Okay.
Yes, list the way Real Madrid game about because I think one thing is the league title and mathematically it's not that over because I got 3 games, that is 9 points. Now your point gap between these two teams are Nina Abedina Real Madrid performance in TNA. There is nothing like they going into this game to like maybe play or Obefani so results in any shimano. Everything can happen. Senior Carlo Ancelotti a kind of. And I can the last few days with this Real Madrid setup. Ama Obiati assessed by the 26th of May he would be starting his role at the Brazilian national team and it will be one game Real Madrid needs to win because you can't let your fans go a whole season trophyless. Now the few games are car almost and you go into this game and not still win. So it's one fixture. Mayoka, anytime you have a fixture, especially away, the games first half, almost average at least 1 goal in the first half. In the first half, Real Madrid beat me a goal against him, a friend Mayoka. And Villarreal, any Leganes, I can't say Leganes performance. And they, so when Timan born home wedding relegation or Bekaho. In only Villarreal also a person maintaining the Champions League spot. In one fighting for a Champions League spot, one also looking to avoid relegation. Game number year, papa. It will be one game. I'm not seeing a lot of goals in this game because one thing they say with fixtures, send me balls to Spain. Mostly the last days of the season, goals near more crucial. My teams need and yet the first round that they get to score, win no share, no be none in your share. One thing about Villarreal is that anytime they've scored a home goal first against any team, they go on to drop points. In their last 12 home games on my bono, emu 6 normal draw. So meaning say emu half utimiko equal drop a point there the back where hard. So it will be one crucial game for Spain games now because when yabo the Coppa Italia. It's likely say AC Milan beat Miyaji with Conceição audio meaning but history embark AC Milan in this competition, especially anytime they get into the final. They've lost 2 finals without scoring a goal. Into any Conceição be name brand anybody in common. I say if there should be an early goal in this game, it should come from team friend AC Milan. My member me odds so and then me march for 4 odds. Send your mumbe team their fiscal MYBET.AFRICA. Villarreal ni Leganes may call for Villarreal win or draw 1.5 L. Real Madrid Mayoka, Real Madrid win 1.5. Galatasaray Airbo Cup game, Galatasaray to win L. And a Bologna any AC Milan 1.5 L. Code no XFJY FXJY MYBET.AFRICA.
Okay. Right. Inti what you can make sure say we try MYBET.AFRICA. But more than we join your Telegram account now. They are penny or your Telegram account no. But more than say we be click so na fi we register na be to me akoye. Nti me games here Sparta Prague and SK Sigma Olomouc. I know your cup final in the Czech cup no. Sparta Prague win or draw. Villarreal and Leganes Villarreal win. CFR Cluj and AFC Hermannstadt. CFR Cluj home win or draw. Galatasaray Istanbul versus Trabzonspor. Galatasaray to win the final. PSV ne Heracles Amelo. Halftime win PSV. Feyenoord and RKC. Feyenoord home win. Groningen ne Ajax win either half. Real Madrid ne Mallorca over 1.5. Fluminense and Union Espanola for Fluminense home win. And CA Penarol Montevideo and Club Olympia nebo. CA Penarol Montevideo home win or draw. Out of 10. Out of 10. We so ye medie. Nyame aduma ochina ye besa ba ochina ye Thursday. Ochina ye beba na ye be discuss Chelsea game no. Ebedu ono na Enzo Maresca the press conference about betu dwana fi bibia to me akoye. Matt Law report say the 3 games will not determine Enzo Maresca's future. Indeed, that is the current news. Matt Law the tudwa honum nkofo no my imagine say whether open stability there or menya team no any technical team no yɛbɛhwɛ deɛ ɛbɛkɔ na okay na afei biribiara so no atumi akɔyie medin de list wɔ wote ɛyɛ Vincent ka Benedict ka na afei asaka ɛna ne o streaming show no nyame adom a ɔkyɛn bɛsɛ hyɛ